Monday Night Chat with Wong Chen.
Brought to you by the Member of Parliament for Kelana Jaya in collaboration with INVO.
Okay, this week we have 3 questions on our Q&A session. The first question is about the pig-bristle scandal or issue. The second one is on private medical care centre, whether they're overcharging and whether we can control it. The third one is someone is asking for explanation on the fuel prices mechanism. So let's deal with the pig-bristle issue straight away. First thing to remember, this should not be a political matter nor a religious matter. It is simply a domestic trade matter. The ministry should go and check labelling issue. This is a question about labelling. Is it extreme to ask people to label pig bristle brushes? It's not extreme, I think. It is normal that, for instance, you go to a shoe shop, some pigskin shoes, they put a label, it's for pigskin, right? So I think just giving the choice to consumer is most important, and not to over-politicize the matter. I'm quite happy that the Domestic Trade Minister has made a statement on the matter, and that to let their department to sort it out. Number 2, private medical centres. Someone complained that private medical centres are overcharging. The short answer is we cannot write down the rules on what private medical centres should charge. Theoretically, we should allow the market to decide. So the market should have a space for high-end hospitals, medium-end hospital or low-end hospitals, and let the people who have the appropriate amount of money to choose which section they want to go to. But the important thing is the public hospitals must improve so that during these hard economic times, people have a choice to go to public hospitals. The problem with public hospital is the government has cut the budget, and also we are facing overcrowding from basically foreign workers. So employers of foreign workers need to contribute more towards medical bill funded by the government sector. Yeah. So if we sort that out, I think we can try to at least give universal coverage on health at a reasonable level. But the short answer is you cannot basically monitor or regulate the charges that private hospitals do. We have to leave it to the market. Now the third one is on the fuel mechanism. There's been this public spat where the government says that the opposition got the numbers wrong. Well, the opposition didn't get the numbers wrong. What has been revealed finally is that despite oil prices being quite low in January, that the government bumped up the price of oil by 20 cents at the petrol station. That is due to the float mechanism being managed by the government. The government has admitted so much that the mechanism, while floating means it follows the market principles, but it is still managed, means there's a big element of discretion. For instance, if the price of fuel drops, the government may not drop the same level as the per barrel price. They may manage the drop, or smaller drop or bigger drop. In the same way that if oil prices go up, they want to manage it. I think the idea of managing float is a reasonable idea. It's not bad, but it is not reflective on the market, provided it's exercised properly to prevent volatility of prices. Okay, so I hope that explains everything. We'll be back next week with your Q&A session. Thank you very much. Welcome back to Policy Monday. This week, Policy Monday, we're going to discuss a paper that we published last Tuesday. It's on political party finances. Now, you must read this document. It is available online on wongchen.com. Just go to the report section. You'll see it there. Political party finances. Tanya, who's my head researcher, gave a nice, clean title. It's called Time to Clean House. Okay. Now, why do we write about this? Now, we all know Malaysia has a culture of corruption. It is endemic, it's systemic, it's right across every site, from parliament all the way down to local council levels, right? Now, why do we focus on political parties? Very simple. People who are elected to office, members of parliament, and also aduns, they all come from one source, which is, well, not all of them, but primarily they come from one source, which is political parties. There are a few independent members of parliament there and independent aduns, but they are in the vast minority. The vast majority of members of parliament come from political parties. So it's important that we understand how political parties function in terms of money and in terms of their own survival in operating themselves, and also to prepare for elections. That is why our office decided to focus, if you really want to fight corruption, you have to focus at the root cause, which is study the finances of political parties. Now, this document is not a condemnation of political parties. It's just trying to explain and illustrate to you how much a mid-sized political party needs to spend a year. So, our paper is, I can give you the basic executive summary, but I hope and I urge everybody to quickly and do read this and tell your friends about it so that they can download it, right? Now, the most important thing is this. Political parties is a typical organization. They have expenses and they have investments for the future. In this sense, political party has to have like a secretary general, it needs people in HR, it needs to do strategic planning. It has basic expenses. They've got rental to pay, or they own a building, they have to pay banks for interest rates, so on and so forth. So we ask the basic question, how much does a political party need to raise a year to survive? Remember, political parties are not for profit, so they need to raise their money through other means, right? Okay, now we get that first. Political parties is an entity that needs to raise money. The question is, how much do they need to raise? Does a political party need 100 million a year to run? Does it need 200,000 to run? In our estimation, based on a mid-sized hypothetical political party, a mid-sized political party will need close to 9 to 10 million a year to run a decent operation with state-level officers and divisional officers, right? Now, political parties are not for profit, so where do they raise the money? What we know is the culture of corruption is so entrenched that some people in power may succumb to political fundraising, which is basically illegal political fundraising, by the way. There's a distinction between fundraising and illegal political fundraising. Those in power may say, look, a developer comes and say, look, I'm entitled for a plot ratio of 1 to 6 or 1 to 4 or 1 to 8. Can I have another 5 more stories, right? If they are given another 5 stories, there's going to be political payback or kickbacks. So those in power abuse this in the name of raising money for political parties. Now that is fundamentally wrong because it sets the culture of corruption and abuse of power into the party finance system. So the paper doesn't really condemn this kind of practices per se. The paper tries to understand why it happens. Why it happens is because essentially political parties need money to survive and they need to raise money to survive. Are there avenues for people to raise money legally? Yes, there are. In the paper, we argue there are 3 basic avenues, and some political parties in Malaysia practice this. One is to tax the elected people into office. We show that you could raise roughly 25% to 33% just from taxing your political parties. Like for instance, I'm a member of parliament. My pay is 26,000 all in. That means all my allowances and all that. The actual pay is quite small, but with all the allowances, I get about 26,000 a month. I have to pay a 20% tax to my party. Now, we call this a legal way to raise money. Yeah. So that 20%, basically about 5 to 6,000 a month, I give to the party from my pay. Yeah. The other way that people can raise money or political parties can raise money is through a simple system of asking our own party members to pay their fees on time. Yeah? If everybody pays the fees, you can raise 30 to 40% of your cost just on fee collection. We're not talking about massive fee collection. We're talking about 5 ringgit a month or $60 a year. You can do that. Within a good amount of money can be raised for your party, right? Lastly, around a third need to be raised by political funding, political events. So the usual things that we do is like throw a dinner. They got those $1,000 per table dinner. They got like $500. You got a $5,000 and so on and so forth. You ask people to buy. If you ask people to buy, I think what is reasonable is about the maximum you should go is about $5,000 a table. I think beyond that, it's a little bit too rich, right? The whole idea of political fundraising is to make sure that it's small and that it doesn't tie up and make undue influence on members of parliament or politicians. Now, my office, we don't do fundraising. We did fundraising in the early days of 2014 because we just basically asked around what other politicians do. we sold a table for 1,000 ringgit, 2,000 ringgit, 3,000, so and so forth. We used to do that. It's what we call per plate dinner. Yeah. But since 2015 and 2016, we moved on to the movie night thing where we do 2 movie nights a year, and that raises about 70,000 for us a year, roughly 60 to 70,000 a year. Now we like movie night because the maximum you pay for a movie is 100 ringgit a ticket. Yeah, and the normal rate we charge is $50 per ticket. So we prefer to collect in small amounts. Now the paper argues that if you do legal fundraising, if you tax your people in office, and also if your members pay, you can raise that 10 million a year for the party. And it keeps the party whistle clean. It doesn't have influence from developers or influence from contractors, so and so forth. You can then move forward to destroy the culture of corruption in Malaysia. It must start somewhere, and starting from the political party side is equally important as starting from the police or starting from the general public. Yeah? So that's Policy Monday for you. Do read this paper, do circulate it. I think it is an important issue to raise, because if I go around ask, 100 people, probably none of them know how much a political party needs, and they have no idea how the political party should raise the money. So that's it for Policy Monday. We'll see a new policy next week.
Hi everybody, this is Abigail, your community officer, bringing you another edition of Previously in Kelana Jaya. So Boss attended 4 events during the weekend. The first one was on Saturday. It's the MPSJ CNY celebration event that took place in Summit USJ. According to Boss, it was a really huge event, and there were lots of children's shows, and even the MPSJ committee members and perhaps the community leaders went up on stage and started singing all sorts of songs. And he had a good time. He said it was really fun. Next is on Sunday. He went for the CNY celebration that took place in SS19. Met up with the chairman and a few of the community leaders that he's not seen in a while, and had a really good chat with each and every one of them. After that, he made his way to PJS 10 for the Serahan Tong Sampah event. I know, weird, right? No, it's not weird. Okay, there are urban poor in the area that are in need of tong sampahs. Don't disrespect. Yeah. So MBPJ, it was an MBPJ organization. The councillor Encik Halimi came along and handed out 300 new tong sampahs to the urban poor, and that was a really good event. Boss went and he mingled with all of them and said that they were really happy to receive those tong sampahs. So hey, another need met. Now finally, he then made his way to USJ 9 at night, where the RA and the RT had their CNY celebration. YB Henayo was of course present, and the chairman, Mr. Koo, as well. Boss mentioned that the 3 kids that did the line dance were amazing at their performance. I wish I was there, but my colleague Nadira vouches for his statement, so I believe that it was a wonderful performance done. Good job, you 3 kids. I don't know your names, but you sounded like you did an awesome job, so good for you. Yay! Okay, yep, so that's all from Boss's events. Oh, forgot to mention, our other colleague Tanya went down to visit the SS19 area in preparation for the medical camp that's going to take place on the 5th of March in the area. So she met up with Encik Khairul and he showed them around. She mentioned how they have a really nice hall that would be perfect to host the medical camp in the area. So that's all I have for Previously in Kelana Jaya. Goodbye and see you all next week.